We've been able to get to a pair of scissors in a shower, so uh, I've been off for an update for the previous time. Okay. On the personal level, we may finally have a way out of this particular pickle, and that the garage we talked to about the possibility of getting this thing fixed. It's like no, because it turns out this engine, when the timing belt breaks, it kind of self-destructs. It makes a point of bending all the valves, which means entire head working. So, oh, I love those Japanese crafty little buggers. Problem is, they make such bloody good cameras. Well, but he has an Oldsmobile there that somebody else brought in. They only paid like for half the work, and he really wants to get rid of this thing. So if we pay him $500, that's ours. We give him this thing. He can do what he wants to at that point. I think you can fix it and probably sell for $3,000 easy. But that is it. So basically, our immediate goal right now, we need to raise about $500. We can buy that Olds, and we can finally be mobile and be moving and
get the heck out of
Dodge, because then the next check would be toward just pay the storage units and the phone, and then the rest of it's gas, and we're on the way. And this becomes a Top Gear special. So it's just a matter of how long we can. We had to move the van a bit because Kmart was getting tired of us, so we moved over here. And I think we are in a corner of the King Soopers lot, next front of the ARC store, that it's actually busy enough that I don't think anyone's going to notice us for about a week, because there's always cars. No one's going to keep track of us over here. And we're also far enough away, no one cares. So we'll see how well that prediction works out. But I think we'll at least get a few days. And we got a fundraiser going on Facebook. I'll have the link down below. And anybody wants to throw anything else our way, great. But that is that's the immediate goal right now. So I think $500. We get an Oldsmobile. I don't know how old it is. Apparently it's ugly as sin though, because no one else wants it. Our guess right now is probably what you say?
I don't know.
I'm forgetting the number, but it's a land yacht. If it is what we think it is, which would be perfect for a cross country trip. And he said it would make it easy. It's the engine work. You put like $1,000 in it, you only get paid $500. So yeah, it's all up and ready to go. And frankly, we need a large car right now to get all this crap in there. But just to be able to get mobile again, so we can take care of stuff here, because I still got to return my keys and key fob for the security thing to the station. We got to put stuff into storage, pull some stuff out of storage, and then once the next check rolls around, get on I-70, point it towards the east, and keep going for a while. Like probably hang a right at St. Louis, and then come back for the rest of the stuff at a better time when we can afford a U-Haul. But that's not why you tuned in, kids. Okay, CBS Viacom merger is looming large. Star Trek about to be back under one banner for the first time in a long time, and what that might mean. Now, this is the one time I don't have a big, terrible rant on what could possibly happen, because who the hell knows at this point. But there's some possibilities. And the big X factor in this is, I think, Les Moonves. Mr. wouldn't know a lightsaber from a street light. Because it's really this is going to be a weird period when this thing starts going to coalesce, because on the one hand you have let's see, how many different series? Well, you got original series, animated, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, 10 movies, versus JJ's 3 movies and a very
this last abomination.
Yeah, and a fairly short run of Discovery. And I think what might work in Star Trek's, in the Prime Universe favor, I hate that term, but that's what we're stuck with now, is CBS's cultural, kind of corporate culture of celebrating its history. Because you look on CBS All Access, there's a lot of classic shows. They got I Love Lucy on there, for God's sake. Anything they had a hand in personally. Old Hawaii Five-O. A lot of old classic shows, and that, you know, and as much as they may lust over the Millennial Bunch for God knows why.
MacGyver.
They don't have old MacGyver yet, do they?
Yeah, they do.
They do have old MacGyver, yeah. So even stuff they didn't produce themselves, but they, you know, they got their hands on it now, so they got rights to the other stuff. And a lot of stuff in Paramount, again, when the initial merger happened, and all that Paramount material came over, because it wasn't just Star Trek, it was also the Brady Bunch and Cheers and Wings and anything Paramount Television produced. CBS now has the rights to, and they're running it on CBS All Access. So you got a very big preponderance of hundreds and hundreds of Star Trek episodes, and again, like I said, 10 Star Trek movies between the 6 original series cast and the 4 next gen cast. Again, versus, you know, 15 episodes of Discovery and 3 JJ Trek movies, which have been, let's say, divisive. I'll be charitable today. And just, yeah, they've been divisive.
Translation, they suck.
Well, it's like some people think they suck. Some people think they're the best things in sliced bread, but I think the ones who really, my observation is the ones who are really into JJ Trek and think it's the greatest things in sliced bread are not the ones who are going to stick around and check out the other stuff here. You know, the older episodes. I don't know, my side's going over.
Only things I liked about the first 2
like
JJ Trek movies were...
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth and Benedict Cumberbatch, of course.
None of which have anything to do really with the movie itself. Just they're there. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was going somewhere with this one. But yeah, the fact is that they are all about, you know, bringing up the old history. And I mean, for those of you, you know, for those of the new fans who dug a little deeper and found the old episodes and liked them and appreciate them and going, thank you, welcome aboard. We're happy to have you and stick around for more, you know, because, you know, there's lots there. There's actually a couple of Voyager episodes I never saw, too. And there's like The Haunting of Deck Whatever, and then Live Fast and Prosper. I never saw those two.
I never really saw the final series episode.
What are you talking about? Of
Voyager.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really finally...
Endgame... Well, I'll tell you right now, that... You think I'm just singing the rah-rah praises of the original series and all this stuff. I'm doing reviews for a website for a buddy in England. The first season of Original Series is already up, and I'm working on the second season. But I think eventually we get to the other series. And I can tell you right now, yeah, Voyager had issues. And Endgame, I don't know, for some reason they had problems ending shows on that. I mean, DS9 and Next Gen ended spectacularly, but Voyager did a bit of a belly flop. And I think mainly because the story was solid enough, but the way the story breaks came down, that there's a couple of points they could have easily dispensed with.
Yeah, didn't they finally bring back Alice
nowhere.
Krieg for that one?
Yes, they did. They brought back the Borg Queen, but they should, you know, up the stakes a little bit on a few things, because it basically involved. Really, if you think about it, bringing down the Borg, and because they destroyed their little transwarp network, but they didn't play it up like they were doing. It's like they should have made. No, they just destroyed their capability of getting around, so the Borg are eventually going to burn themselves out or whatever. And for some reason they had a thing with, you know, the Tuvok developing, like, Vulcan Alzheimer's type of thing, you know.
Weird.
And it just like, and Chakotay dying. A lot of it was just pointless motivations for Janeway. And I think what should have been a thing is, like, if we had only taken that turn in the transwarp thing, we could have changed all this and had the Federation on the verge of collapse because of the Borg. And that would have been proper motivation for Janeway to go back in time and do the whole retro thing. Instead, they tried to make her, you know, kind of a, I don't know, Colonel Kurtz thing. Yes, kitty cat. What do you want? All right.
Yeah, that's Jonesy, guys.
He's got food and water, so I don't know what he's whining about. But, so yeah, it's not like everything before JJ was clean and perfect and pure as a wind-driven snow. No, we had serious problems here and there. Don't get me started on Threshold. But, and yeah, I'm thinking, check out my review of Alternative Factor 2. And yeah, that's like the 1-star review of the whole. That's there's like 3.5, 4, and it's like that was the turd. Every show's got to have one in somewhere, at least one. But that's the preponderance of the thing. I was like, you got all these, hours and hours of show, the built-up history, and everything reinforces each other on there. Because you can't even say that, well, the things changed after First Contact, and then they no, because what happened with In a Mirror Darkly, guys? They go on the Defiant. It hasn't been changed to something, that would fit in a JJ. No. It's right. They dug out the original blueprints, and lucky for them, Herman Zimmerman stopped by on a visit because they'll point out that they were using the wrong scale. Those sets are almost undersized if he hadn't come by. Because, a little bit of trivia history here. Way back in the day, Herman Zimmerman, like, he kind of just transitioned out of acting into, being an art director. And he worked at NBC. I think he was working on Days of Our Lives, actually, or something. But one of the shows. And he would poke his nose in and look at the Star Trek stuff and be amazed what was going on. So he had access to the original stuff. Because, of course, NBC got copies of the stuff, so they know what they were paying for. So he got to look at this stuff. And so he was very intimately familiar when they wanted to recreate the sets. And he came, I remember that. I saw that back in the day. And actually, In a Mirror Dark is a very effective way of how you do these updates to these things, but keep the original design. Everyone keeps making this stupid little thing. We want to go back to plywood sets and jelly babies on jelly bean company. No, don't mistake the materials with the design. And that's what all you little straw man argument proppers keep trying to do. Is you want to go back to plywood? No, and actually, dirty little secret there. Those sets they're working on today are made of plywood. They're sanded very smooth and got a good paint on it, but you look on the back side of it, it's plywood, just like in the old days. You dig up some behind-the-scenes footage of the warp core on Enterprise, that big shiny long thing. You look inside, it's plywood with a big spinning wheel, a plywood wheel with foil on it to reflect the light.
Hi, kitty.
Some of these techniques, they're the same things going back then. So anybody wants to try to, badmouth, the stuff they did back in the 60s, guess what? They're still doing the same damn thing today. And the big thing, and again, get back to what they did with the Defiant Bridge. Yeah, you had the same design. They just did subtle little changes. Like the handrail, the red handrail are curved a little more. Whereas originally it was just the Enterprise set, it was the same bridge set. It was the same angled, handrail, but they just curved it slightly. Something you wouldn't have noticed. And all the computer readouts there are actual computer readouts and not the little sandwich things with plexi and Christmas lights. And you got real video monitors up top. You got a working view screen so you can actually, show video and interact with it. But it's stuff like that. It's materials and, putting more resources into it. But that's how you do it, guys. In Discovery, that's how you do it. You don't just, because frankly, that'll interview with one of the art designers for Discovery over on, it was on TrekMovie.com. And at least she's honest and saying, well, we can't go back to, TOS originals, that's 50 years later. That's not going to happen. Yeah, at least she's being honest about it. But the way she said, well, we know they made it with cardboard and sticky tape. No, it was not cardboard and sticky tape, you stuck-up little bitch. There's the same plywood and nails and everything else that you're using right goddamn now. So get your head out of your ass and quit being like, oh, we're so superior now. No. Guess what?
Calm down.
They're going to take you back to 66 and the set of Desolate. You'd recognize everything they're doing right, and you'd say, yeah, we're doing that right. We're doing that on Discovery, too. Those are not duranium alloys that you're working on. They are plywood. You damn well know it. You got little fluorescent tubes under the grates to make it look like it's futuristic, but it's just as much plywood as the original series sets. Okay, so don't try and pretend you're doing something so magic.
Calm down.
I'm glad you got to go little Francis on these guys. Okay. But yeah, what's going to happen with when everything's reunited? I don't know. I'd like to think that just the preponderance of everything else, they spin Discovery off in its own little universe, so they want to actually keep that crap. But I would hope that somebody recognizes these are really stupid scripts. The character motivations are idiotic. Everyone's acting like morons. And as much as you may think, oh, we could do so much more technically, just because, that's the old thing. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing,
Oh, Jonesy.
And they're showing holographic technology far in excess of what they had in the Next Generation series, in DS9 when it first showed up. And again, they stopped doing it because it was stupid. It was distracting. It wasn't advancing the story purpose. Anything they said in it could have been said on a view screen. And then at least they had the hologram could only stay in that one spot because it makes sense. They're projecting a hologram. He's not in the same room you are. Yeah. And they don't have hollow emitters all over the damn room, so when he moves, it tracks along. But apparently Discovery, they haven't, again, I think a lot of Discovery is not so much that they just haven't thought it through. And that explains about the entire show. They never thought this through. They had a great little concept, and off to the races, and it's like, no one's ever, how does this work? It's like, we got a great idea for the Klingons. Great, go with it. How does this fit with the original series Klingons? And you can't use it. Well, the Klingons always look different. There was a bit of a progression there, usually. And like I said before, when you figure in the Cage into the mix, no, you're not doing a prequel to TOS. You're in the middle of TOS now. Because this show takes place about 2 or 3 years after the Cage. You're in the middle of that timeline now. Right? And then that final shot with the Enterprise, guess what? It is now fatally mucked up now. That was your last chance to make things right. And you blew it. So we're going to find out just, okay, how do you dig yourselves out of this hole now? Especially if it all comes back under one big Viacom, CBS happy family, where it's all one big happy universe again, and you got to make it fit. You can make it fit together. And they don't.
Don't forget the trolls.
Oh, the trolls are always going to be there.
Well, I mean, the ones that...
Oh, yes, that, regarding, some comments. I suppose this one's kind of wide open because I started off with a personal name, but generally, on certain comments, I feel that, I have to wield the ban hammer a few times because if it's not advancing the discussion, it's like try and keep it on topic of what the video is, okay? Something to discuss here. Whoops. Yeah, I'm running the battery. Yes, okay, go. Yeah. Dang it. All right. This is one fun here. Come on, all right, we'll just do it the other way then. Here. Okay, basically, let's keep the comments on topic and not go off on side things, because one of them, it's like, and also, the other thing, because one of them went off on a bit of a very, very long and tedious tangent going off on, and it had nothing to do with the video. It was off on the personal stuff, and
on me,
on Steph, on Sister Back East. Totally uncalled for comment, and also a lot of the details are so wrong it wasn't even funny. It's like, and again, and it also went on for like half a. It's like, if you can't wrap it, you make your point in a couple of paragraphs. It's like the eyes start to glaze over at the point, and no one's going to read that crap, so you're wasting your time. Okay. And stuff like that, yeah, I will delete it, okay? Because you're not doing anybody any good. Because usually you're not saying anything I haven't already heard 1,000 times before already. Or even told myself a few times already. It's like, we're in the middle of it, guys. We've been at it for a year. You really think we haven't tried the various resources? And generally been denied for various reasons, mainly because I'm not an abusive alcoholic. We don't have any kids.
And we're not on drugs.
We're not on drugs. we're just, more or less screwed. Forced out of the house before we're ready to do anything, and we're actually, and despite that, still actually on the verge of getting this thing done. So that brings back to $500. We got a vehicle, and we can move again, and we can actually get under our own power. But yeah, it's like if you expect a comment to stay up and and be read, and be joined by anybody else, it's like the old rule: don't be a dick. The old universal rule of life: don't be a dick. You start getting judgmental on me and mine. No, you're not advancing the discussion or anything. You're just going to take a personal swipe at me. Guess what? You get the band hammer upside the head. So, all right. But really, the main thrust here is what's going to happen with Discovery. Let's hear your thoughts down below, because I think it might work out the end, but it won't be pretty. And how it gets there.
It's gonna be ugly.
It's gonna get weird for a while, I think, while everything starts to sort itself out. And I think with the preponderance of evidence, of the weight being on the original shows and movies, and the other stuff just kind of like looking like a student film for the most part. I mean, right now, Star Trek Continues has a better angle of being considered canon than anything from Discovery or JJ. And at least JJ, they had the good sense to call it an alternative timeline, so it could stand on its own for the most part. This one, yes, we're back to Discovery again. Yes, this one is like there's too much off. It's not even trying to mesh, and the arrogance of the comments of like, oh, we got to change it. No, you don't. You change the materials, you change the techniques, you put a little more detail on it, but you don't toss out the whole thing and think you're doing something magical. You're not. You're just changing things, and then
you're just throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
And then have the audacity to go, oh, but it's prime timeline.
Bull.
Like hell. It's like, this is prime timeline compared to these ones, Yes, the little soft kitty from Big Bang Theory. This is closer to prime timeline than anything Discovery has done. So I'm going to wrap this up now before the battery dies on me here.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking would puke on Discovery.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm glad Stephen Hawking's not around to see this mess. That would have been...
It's a schmutz fest.
I got to wonder if he ever made any comments or... I'm a good dub. Oh yeah, I saw it. Hated it. Yeah. Biggest piece of crap I ever saw. No. Warp-driven turd. No.
Warp-driven turd. Yeah. I love it.
Anyway.
And yes, that's the cat in the back.
Yes, he's thinking. Yeah, I'm probably able to hear him purring. He is purring quite loudly.
Anyway.
I don't think so. All right. PayPal, Patreon down below, and also I'll try and get a link into the Facebook fundraiser so we can send this poor van off to, I feel bad about what happened, but it's also with the timing belt situation, it's going to go, it's going to go. It had nothing to do with what we did to it, because those are big, thick belts, So anything, nothing we did to it would have hastened that thing. So it was going to go anyway. So again, I'm glad it happened here, not halfway across Kansas where it would have been screwed. And find out that, the way they designed the engine is such, when that belt breaks, it just destroys everything inside the engine. And the heads, at least, for the valves. So it's like, great.
And for the record, any money that
but this can be, this can be fixed up by somebody who'll make somebody a very good family van someday.
Yeah. And any money we get raised towards this will go to this.
Yeah, this is strictly just buying a new vehicle, and then we get the hell out of Dodge. It's like, get an I-70, set a course for due east at warp 10. But yeah, that'd be about it. So again, PayPal, Patreon down below. And again, in the comments, keep it constructive. Don't be a dick. Okay? Catch you later.